Hello everyone, my name is Shruti Dandrial. I'm a postgraduate in mathematics and have an educational degree also. I have an experience of 1 year teaching as an offline teacher in the school and 1 year experience in teaching online classes during the COVID pandemic times. I have taught students from classes 6th to class 10th, focusing majorly on the subject mathematics. I have curated a lesson plan that is an 100-hour long lesson plan for class 9th as well as class 10th based on the CBSE syllabus. So my lesson plans will be focusing on the chapters and the topics which are included in the latest NCERT issue. So the first chapter in class 9th is number system. This will take hardly around 7 hours because in this chapter we are going to cover about what are irrational numbers, what are rational numbers, how are they both different, what are the decimal expansions of irrational and rational numbers, what are real numbers, the laws of exponents, few of which laws we have already studied in class 8. Now we will study more laws in class 9th, how we will use them in solving the questions. And at the end, when we're done with the whole NCERT chapter along with the exercise, then we will do some practice questions on our own from the side books and all. Second chapter in class 9th NCERT book is polynomials. So in this, we have already studied polynomials in class 8th. So we know basic things. In this, we are just going to extend it a little bit, that polynomials in one variable, the zeros or the solutions of the polynomials, how we are going to find out. Various methods such as factorization, substituting the values and all, hit and trial method. Then we'll move on to the algebraic identities. Few of the identities we have already done in class 8th. Now in this class 9th, we will learn few more identities, how we are going to use them to solve our polynomials and so on we will learn in this chapter. So this will take around us 6 hours. The third chapter in class 9th is coordinate geometry. Coordinate geometry we have done in our class 8th. We have learned about x-axis, y-axis. In this also we are going to learn about Cartesian plane, that is the x and y axis. And then few more questions that can come regarding the Cartesian planes, how the questions are formed, how the questions are framed and how we are going to put solutions into them and how we are going to solve the questions. So this chapter is a small chapter, is an easy chapter, so it will take around only 2 hours. Chapter number 4 is linear equation in 2 variables. We have done linear equation 1 variable in class 8. So in class 9th, we will learn about when 2 variables are there in the same equation, how we are going to solve them graphically. So it is a small chapter, but the type of questions are wide and vast. So we are going to do practice questions more focusing on this chapter. So it will take us around 4 hours. Chapter number 5 is Euclid's geometry. So Euclid's geometry, as the word suggests, it is based on geometry, but it is a theoretical approach towards the geometry. So it has various axioms, postulates given by the Euclid, who was a mathematician. So it will take us around only 2 hours. Chapter number 6 is lines and angles. In this we are going to learn about different type of lines, that is intersecting lines, parallel lines, then a transversal intersecting two parallel lines, pair of angles formed by them. And then there are practice questions regarding this chapter. They are a little bit tricky if the questions come out to be a little bit different than the language used in the NCERT book. So this chapter, to complete it all in all, will take us around 6 hours. Chapter 7 is triangles. Congruency we have already learned in class 7. So this is the extended or the continuation of that chapter. So in this chapter, we are going to learn about what is the congruency of triangle, what are the different criterion that we can use to prove the congruency of two triangles. Then there are 2-3 theorems regarding triangles and then there are practice questions. So this chapter will take us around 6 hours. Chapter number 8 is quadrilaterals. In this, we are going to learn about one particular quadrilateral, that is a parallelogram, and the properties of parallelogram, which we have already studied in class 8, but in this class, we are going to prove those properties by using the congruency criterion that we have learned in the previous chapter. Now comes a new theorem in this chapter, that is midpoint theorem, and then the converse of this theorem. Converse means the opposite of this theorem. So it will take us around hardly 5 hours because there are lots of questions, but the questions are easy if you will get to know the properties of triangles. Chapter number 9 is circles. In this chapter, we have humongous amount of theorems, that is around 11 theorems we have in this chapter, but most of the theorems are converse of each other. So this chapter is a little bit lengthy, a little bit tough, because it is a new concept. Circles, we don't deal with circle that much regarding the theorem concept. So this will take us around 6 hours. Chapter number 10 is Heron's formula. Heron's formula is a formula with which we can calculate the area of the triangle if the sides of the triangles are given. We don't need any altitude, we don't need any base, we just need the dimensions of all the 3 sides, and then we can easily calculate it using Heron's formula. So this is a new formula. We will come to the conclusion of this formula also. So this chapter will take us around 4 hours. Chapter number 11 is surface area and volumes. I have included a topic of class 10th as well. So in this we are going to learn about surface area and volume of a cone, surface area and volume of a sphere and a hemisphere, and then we are going to learn about surface area and volume of combination of solids. Combination of solids is if we put a cone over a sphere, if we put a cone over a hemisphere, and so on like that. So this chapter is a bit based on formula. It has calculations, it is lengthy, it is trickier, but it is easy if the concepts become clear. So this chapter will take us around 14 hours. The last chapter in class 9 book is statistics. In this we are going to learn about how to represent our data in a graphical form, that is in the form of a bar graph, in a histogram, in a frequency polygon, in 2 frequency polygons all together. So this chapter will take us around 4 hours. Let's take a few topics of class 10th now. So the first topic that I have taken is quadratic equation. In this chapter we are going to learn about what are quadratic equation, how can we identify that a particular equation given to us is a quadratic equation. Then we are going to learn about how to solve the quadratic equation, how we can find out the solutions, what are the different methods and ways. Then there is one particular method known as discriminant method, which helps us to solve the quadratic equation, as well as it helps us to tell the nature of the solution of the quadratic equation, that is whether they are different and real, whether they are equal to each other, or whether they are non-existent. So this chapter will take us up around 8 hours. So the next chapter that we are going to take of class 10th is arithmetic progressions. This is a new chapter, completely new. We haven't done anything like this since our class 9. So in this chapter we are going to know what are arithmetic progressions, how can we say that a particular series is showing an arithmetic progression. Then comes the formula for finding out the nth term, that is one unknown term of the particular series, how we can find it out. Then if a particular series is given without actually adding up all the numbers, how we can find out the sum of all the numbers in a given series. So this chapter will take us up around 7 hours because it is completely new chapter, so it is little bit time consuming. The next chapter of class 10 that I have taken up is Introduction to Trigonometry. Now trigonometry is a completely new side of the mathematics that we will do. So it will be a little bit tough in the starting. So it is going to take up a lot of time. So that is why I have given it 10 hours. Because in this we are going to learn about what is trigonometry, what are trigonometric ratios. Then we are going to learn about trigonometric ratios or some specific angles, the values of trigonometric ratios or some specific angles. Then we are going to learn about the trigonometric identities. Now this is the most trickiest part of this chapter because we will learn about the trigonometric identities. Then we are going to solve the questions based on these identities. So solving the question in the starting for this chapter is a little bit tough. it is little bit time consuming, little bit confusing. So that's why this chapter is going to take up a lot of time. That's why I've given it 10 hours. The last topic that I've taken from class 10th is applications of trigonometry. Now in the previous chapter we learned about different trigonometric ratios, their identities, their relation to each other. Now in this chapter we are going to learn about how we are going to use trigonometry in daily life to calculate heights and distances of unknown objects. Suppose a particular object is placed far off and we want to calculate its distance from us. So using the trigonometric ratios, using the trigonometric values, we can calculate the heights and distances of the objects or things. So this chapter will take us up around 6 hours. We are going to discuss upon the topic quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals, as the name suggests, it is a polygon in which there are 4 sides. We are going to learn about a special type of quadrilateral in this chapter, that is the parallelogram. So parallelogram, as we have already studied in class 8, is a quadrilateral in which opposite sides are parallel to each other. For example, as you can see in the video, that there is a parallelogram ABCD in which AB is opposite to CD, BC is opposite to AD. So according to the definition of parallelogram, this figure should be giving us the denominations as
AB is parallel to CD and BC is parallel to AD.
Now we have learned about various properties and used various properties of parallelogram in class 8. One property being the diagonal of a parallelogram divides it into 2 congruent triangles. So let us now prove this theorem or the property using the congruency criterions. To prove this property, we will join any one of the diagonals. So let us join AC in the following parallelogram. So now our parallelogram is divided into 2 triangles, that is triangle ABC and triangle CDA. Now what we have to keep in mind is whenever we prove the congruency, we have to keep the names of the triangles exactly equal so that the sides coincide, corresponding sides of corresponding triangles coincide with each other. So let us take the condition in triangles ABC and triangle CDA. So what are the conditions that are given to us? Since it is given that AB is parallel to CD, because opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal, so angle BAC will be equals to angle ACD. Alternate interior angles, pair of alternate interior angles. So these angles will be equal. This is our first condition. As you can see, both the triangles are sharing the same side, that is AC. So our second conditions become AC is equals to CA. The reason being common. The third condition, we need three conditions to prove our congruency criterion. Any of the congruency criterion, we need 3 conditions. So the third condition comes from, it is given that BC is parallel to AD. So now our angle will be angle BCA is equals to angle DAC. Alternate interior angles. So now we have 3 conditions: angle, side, angle. So the congruency criterion that we are going to use is ASA, angle, side, angle. So by using ASA congruency criterion, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA, and which proves our theorem that every diagonal of a parallelogram divides it into 2 congruent triangles. From here, by CPCT we can prove that AB is equals to CD and BC is equals to AD, which gives our second theorem for the parallelogram, that is opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal. So we have proven 2 theorems regarding parallelogram. The first being diagonal of a parallelogram bisect each other. The second being opposite sides of parallelogram are equal to each other.